Hello everyone, Charles Watts here, the Arsenal correspondent at Goal, joining you just after Arsenal's 1-0 defeat at Manchester City tonight. As you can see, I'm not at the Etihad, I'm actually at my dad's house, as you can see by the signed Watts 71 Arsenal shirt there that I got him for his 71st birthday. I've been watching it at my dad's house because I haven't been able to go to the Etihad because of the whole one per organisation rule at the moment in the COVID era. So our Manchester City reporter was there, but I have been watching the game and have just been part of Mikel Arteta's post-match press conference as well via Zoom, and asked a few questions that I will discuss with you in a minute after I just quickly run through my thoughts on the game, and I'll give you some of what Mikel Arteta had to say after the match, and then run through my player ratings. So 1-0 defeat for Arsenal, not the usual Etihad mauling for Arsenal, really. I mean, we seem to concede 3 goals there every time we play there in recent years. Not so bad today, but kind of still feels a little bit disappointing. It felt like this was an opportunity for Arsenal against the City side who haven't started the season too well. They're missing some key players, no De Bruyne, no Laporte. Aguero obviously starting, but hadn't played a game in 4 months. It kind of just felt like an opportunity for Arsenal to really have a go at them today. And I thought they did play well in flashes. Certainly in the first half, I thought they played well first 20 minutes. Bit sloppy after conceding the goal to Sterling on the 23rd minute, but then they really improved in the last 10-15 minutes of the first half. I thought they were very, very good. Could well have gone in level, created 2 good opportunities that Ederson saved, both from Saka and then from Aubameyang as well. Saka had another shot tipped over by Ederson in that first half. So I thought Arsenal played pretty well in that first 45 minutes. The second half just didn't really get going, didn't cause too many problems. Pepe had one header right at the start of the second half, but other than that, I thought City saw the game out relatively comfortably, and that would just be the one disappointment on today. I thought Arsenal played well on the whole, but just a little bit lacking. And I thought Mikel Arteta made a bit of an experiment today. He started with Willian as the central striker. When we saw that the team was announced and you had Lacazette and Nketiah on the bench, you thought, well, Aubameyang's going to play central striker for the first time this season. But then once the game got underway, Willian was playing there almost as a false 9 in the front 3 with Pepe on the right and Aubameyang on the left. And for me, it just didn't really work. It was just... I asked Mikel Arteta about it after the game, and I'll tell you what he had to say in a sec. But for me, Willian hasn't played well since the first game of the season, I don't think, since that game at Fulham when he was very, very good. Hasn't played too well since then. He kind of continued that today. The game just passed him by a little bit, and just wasn't really the game to experiment. Obviously, Mikel Arteta knows Manchester City, he knows their strength. This would have been something he'd been working on to try and pull a bit of a surprise on Pep Guardiola all week, but didn't quite happen. I thought City dealt with Willian there very, very comfortably, and much rather have seen either Lacazette there or even Aubameyang as the central striker. I asked Mikel Arteta about it after the game, and this is what he had to say to me on Willian playing there. He said, "We need to have versatility to play in different formations, different spaces. I believe that it was a game for him, the way City play, the way they attract opponents and the spaces that can be used." He was really convinced as well. It was obviously hard to leave 2 strikers on the bench, but it was a tactical decision. I then asked Arteta, was he happy with how that decision worked out? Was he happy with how Willian played there and how the formation worked? And he said, yes, in some moments better than others, but I think he will grow and understand better that position as we use him on other occasions, maybe surrounded by different players as well. But I'm happy with the game he had. So that's Mikel suggesting there possibly that it won't be the only time we see Willian deployed as a false 9. Certainly hinted that there might be other occasions that we see that. On today's evidence, I'm not so sure because I didn't think it worked very well. Perhaps it will work better against other teams and not Manchester City. But for me, just didn't really pan out the way I think Arteta certainly would have been hoping it would have done as he was working on it at London Colney. I asked about Rob Holding's injury. Holding got an injury in the warm-up. David Luiz came in and replaced him in a starting 11 just before kickoff, and he didn't really know. Arteta, he just said, we don't know how bad it was, because I asked if it'd be a few weeks, and he said it was bad enough for us to make the decision to get him out of the game, and that was about it, really. Arsenal should have had a penalty before half-time, wasn't given. Arteta not too happy about that. It was a high boot on Gabriel, I think it was, and he said, Arteta on that said, I just asked the referee to watch it back because I don't think they checked it out via VAR because it took 2 seconds for the whistle to go for half-time, so I'm disappointed with that one. So that was Mikel Arteta's reaction to the match. He was happy with the performance, he said he was proud of the way his players played, and having been at Manchester City for that long, he said you don't see too many teams go to Man City and play as well as that, so he was happy with how it played. I know some, certainly judging by the reaction on social media, some of you weren't too pleased, but I think you've got to you got to put it. When you look at it, the team stats here: Manchester City had 13 shots, Arsenal had 11 shots. You don't get, not many teams go to the Etihad and have 11 shots and only get outshot by 2 to Manchester City. So there was definitely positives to take from Arsenal. I thought Saka was good. I thought Gabriel was excellent again, but it still just felt like that little bit of a missed opportunity for Arsenal. Right, player ratings time. Bernd Leno got a bit of criticism for the goal. Again, he sort of parried Phil Foden shot out and Sterling swept it in. Some people saying he should have pushed it out further. He pushed it back into the danger area, but I think it was pretty harsh. He was quite close range, Foden. But Bellerin wasn't great in letting Foden get the shot away. So I'm not going to have too much of a go at Bernd Leno for that one. I thought otherwise he was relatively solid. So I'm going to give Bernd Leno a 7. I thought he was pretty good. Kieran Tierney started despite the COVID scare. I thought Tierney was pretty solid as well. Had one really good bit of play in the first half, which led to Saka's good chance. It was saved by Ederson. So I'm going to give Tierney a 7. Gabriel I thought was really, really good. I actually thought he was Arsenal's man of the match with Saka. Really solid. Just looks like a fantastic signing. Stood up to everything City really had to offer. And just looks like a really dominant defender who's going to get better and better and better. So I'm going to give him a 7 as well. David Luiz, fair play to him. Came in at the last minute. Thought he had a good performance. Was never afraid with the ball at his feet. It was just a solid performance. So all 3 of the centre-backs I am giving a 7. Bukayo Saka, I'm going to go with an 8 for Saka. I thought he was great. He faded a bit in the second half perhaps, but I thought in the first half he was really, really good. Everything good Arsenal did came through Saka. He had 2 good opportunities that he worked himself well. Both were saved by Ederson. So I'm going to give Saka an 8. He's my man of the match. Granit Xhaka and Dani Ceballos again I thought played well. Ceballos especially I thought drove things forward, was really tidy on the ball, didn't give it away much. Going to give both of those 2 a 7. I think you can see by the way my ratings are going. I actually thought Arsenal played well pretty much all the way across the pitch. No one had a bad game for me, except now we get to the forwards, and this is where Arsenal let themselves down a little bit. Aubameyang obviously playing out on the left as well. Again, pretty isolated a lot of the time. I'd have probably preferred to play him down the centre. I think he would have obviously preferred to play that there as well. Had one good chance in the first half. The linesman did flag, but it would have been overruled and the goal given had he scored because he was onside and VAR would have overruled it, but he put it straight at Ederson. That was his only real opportunity. Aubameyang did put in one good cross for Pepe in the second half for Pepe's header right at the start, which was saved. But all in all, pretty disappointing performance from Aubameyang. Just couldn't really get in the game. And give Orbit a 6. Willian up front, not for me. Didn't work at all. It was an experiment. Obviously, there was science behind the experiment. We all know how tactical Mikel Arteta is. He would have hoped this was going to pull a bit of a surprise on Pep Guardiola, but didn't work for me. Replaced midway through the second half, pretty ineffectual. I'm going to give Willian a 5. Pepe as well. I wasn't too impressed by Pepe. Deserved his starting spot after that cameo against Sheffield United before the international break. Had one good header in the second half, which either side of Ederson and probably would have been a goal, but it went straight at the keeper. But other than that, it just wasn't really in the game. Didn't cause City too many problems. So I'll give Pepe a 6 for me. So Aubameyang 6, Pepe 6, and Willian 5. That's where Arsenal sort of let themselves down today a little bit. The front 3 just didn't hurt Manchester City at all. The substitutes who came on, we got a very late showing of Thomas Partey. He got booked actually. When he came on for the final sort of 10 minutes, and Nketiah and Lacazette came on as well. Lacazette played really deep, and again you kind of wanted Arsenal to really go at it there because he came on for the last 23 minutes. You thought he'd go at the central striker and Arsenal would really mount a bit of a late assault at Manchester City, but it didn't happen. Lacazette was playing really, really deep, which I presume again was a tactical thing, but you'd have wanted him really on the last shoulder of Ruben Diaz to have a bit of a go at Manchester City, but didn't happen. So tough to rate the substitutes really, just because none of them had really too much of an impact. I'll rate Lacazette as a 5 just because he was on for the longest, but out of Nketiah and Partey I'm just not going to give him a rating because it would be a little bit unfair. So there's my match roundup and player ratings. Thank you for watching, everyone. Thank you for all the support as always on the channel. Thanks for the likes and subscriptions, and if you are new to this, please hit that subscription button, and I will try and keep you all as updated as I can with all things Arsenal as we head through the season. Thanks for watching, everyone. Enjoy the rest of your weekend.